It's going to last from now till a year, 6 months for beginners and 6 months for our master class. Now all you have to do is always subscribe so that each time you don't have to miss any class. If you are a fresher, you don't have to miss any class. From the next video you will follow through, so that any video, I wouldn't want to be people to be taking me back to what we have taught before because they missed the class. So what you do is subscribe, so that each video that pops up, you will be the first to see it. And I guarantee you, in the next 6 months, you'll be perfect in your sewing, and then you can do exploits. Let's go right into it.
The perfect measurement of our clients. Okay, so in this tutorial we'll be showing us exactly how to take your perfect measurement, because if you don't take your measurement perfectly, then the fitting and the cutting will have problem. Okay, so the first thing you do is, when your client is standing, you take the horizontal measurements first. You understand? Now what I mean by horizontal measurement is here to here, here to here, round like this, round like this, round like this, round like this, before you start taking the vertical measurement. Now the first thing you always take, so you don't forget, you can write it down. Anytime you're on this our live broadcast, please get your biro and paper by the side, so you'll be able to take down notes. Now the first measurement you take is your shoulder, and when taking your shoulder, you stand, there's this collarbone somewhere around here. If you touch here, you will feel it. There's these two collarbones. That is exactly where you place your tape. Now you place your tape from here like so to that next collarbone somewhere around here like so. Okay, so for this client, the shoulder measurement is 15, and I prefer you use this side of the tape, inches, instead of here. It's easier measuring with inches. Now after measuring the shoulder, you go over to the bust measurement. I have to stand this way so that you'll be able to view me. This is the round measurement for the round bust. Now you make sure that it's placed exactly on the nipple. If you cannot trace your client's nipple, then you should be able to at least measure where you have the fullness of the bust, the middle part of it. Okay, now when you are measuring, you put one finger inside the tape for an allowance, so you don't get to make mistake. You put one finger inside, the way like so, the way I've done it. Okay, you put one finger inside, one finger inside the tape. Always put your finger inside the tape, and then make sure you balance it. Put one finger inside the tape, make it a little bit fitted, put one finger inside the tape, and that is all. That's for bust measurements. Now you come down to the under bust. This is the under bust. This is where we call the under bust. Under bust. One finger still inside the tape. Now this is the under bust. Make sure it comes directly at the base of the bra. Use your hand to feel it to make sure that it is here for under bust. Now this is the waist. Always keep one finger inside the tape. Now this is the waist. The waist is where you feel this curving out of the hips. You understand? From the under bust, there's a slight, though this is not for everybody. This waist is not pronounced for everybody, but we'll come to that. But for now, when you are measuring somebody that has any figure at all, know that your waist is where the center of the midriff, as in where your hip started curving out. This is your waist. Circumference of waist, that is round waist. You now come to the hips. This is the hips. This is the hips. One finger inside. If you cannot trace the hips, just know that it is where you have the fullness of the person's hips. Use your hand to slightly feel it. Where you have the fullness of the person's hips, then just know that it's the center that you are measuring. Make sure it's exactly the center where you have, use your hand to feel it. You understand? I will show you later when you are cutting. I will show you how to cut it. Place your tape and cut so that you get exactly the hips. Okay? This is, now you come to your lap. This is how you measure your thigh. Lap measurements. This is how you measure your thigh. Always measure to be free. Always measure to be free. Always measure to be free. Okay? Now, if you want to take your knee measurements, this is it. Have your finger inside the way you are comfortable. Now, for the vertical measurements, place your tape here. Go down. This is the nipple. This is the nipple. Or do it in a way, place it in a way that you place it where you have the fullness of the bust, the center of it. And for this person, it is 9.5. Now, go down again, hold it that way. Go down again, this is the under bust. Okay? Now, go down again, this is the waist. Okay? Go down again. Make sure that it falls on where you measure that hips. Okay? Look at it properly. But for me, I prefer here, which is 25. Now you go down again to the knee, like that, to the down part. Now when you are measuring, make sure that whatever you are measuring as the round bust is not tight. Okay? Make sure it's not tight. Make sure you have one finger inside. And as a beginner, we will advise that you always use pattern papers. So you cut on your pattern paper before you put your pattern paper on the customer's cloth or on your cloth, so you don't end up damaging your cloth. Now, when you cut on the pattern paper, you can as well remeasure on the pattern paper and be sure that, okay, what you got is complete. Now, this is the round armhole. This is what we call round armhole. But to save yourself this stress of calculating here, just know that your round armhole, which is where your sleeve is going to be attached, round armhole is this shoulder divided by 2. That means if your shoulder is 15, your round armhole is 15. But then you can add 1 inch to it for ease, or 1.5 for ease. Okay? Now, when you are measuring for trousers, there's something we call crotch. Crotch is that flap area of your trouser. Now, if you want your trouser to have fitting and to be balanced, you have to make sure that you measure this place well. And the correct way of measuring this place, this crotch area of your trouser, the correct way of measuring it is making sure that the person sits on a chair. Now, when the person sits on a chair, as the person is sitting, you are going to measure from here, wherever you want the trouser to start from. If it's a high waist, take it a little bit high. If it's, wait, uh, uh, you don't go fit see now they come. Now, if you are measuring somebody, measuring when the person is sitting down, you now measure from here to the chair while the person is sitting. That way you will get perfect crotch measurement. But if you want to measure, if you don't want to tell the person to stand, you pass it like this, pass it like this, pass it like this. Now, wherever you want this trouser to sit, if you want it to sit on the normal waist area, which is here, you place it like this. But if you want it to sit to be a high waist, you place it like so. But the difference between this standing measurement is make sure it's not tight. Make sure it drops. Make sure it drops. Make sure it's very free. Okay? Make sure it's very free. If you make it tight this way, that person won't be able to sit properly when he's going to sit. Now, if you make it to be a little bit free, make it to be a little bit free on that person. That's all you need. That is the crotch measurement. Then when you are cutting on your pattern paper, you divide by 2. Now, when you are sewing skirts, let me give you a hack which will end this our video. When you are making a skirt that is fitted, this is the hip area. Okay, this is the hip area. If you want the skirt to be fitted and have this curve for the bum area, when you get to that your hip line where you did hip circumference on your, this is going to be on your pattern paper. Now when you come down by 2 inches, remove half inch, take your hand inch by half inch inside and come out. I'll be showing us this. Note it down so that when I am cutting on the pattern, marking it on the